The hum of the spaceship's engines filled the air as Captain Ava Thompson paced the bridge, her eyes fixed on the viewscreen that displayed the relentless advance of the alien armada. Lieutenant Ethan Reynolds manned the tactical station, his fingers flying across the controls as he coordinated the defensive systems. "Captain, they're closing in fast," Ethan reported, his voice tense with urgency. "We need to make a stand." Ava nodded grimly, her jaw set with determination. "Prepare for evasive maneuvers. Harper, Liam, Maya, I need status reports on our weapon systems and shields." Dr. Harper Jackson, the ship's chief scientist, glanced up from her console, her brow furrowed in concentration. "Weapons at 50% capacity, shields holding steady for now," she replied, her voice cool and steady despite the chaos unfolding around them. Sergeant Liam Chen, the hardened veteran of countless battles, stood at attention beside Ava, his eyes scanning the viewscreen for any sign of weakness in the enemy's formation. "We can't keep this up for long, Captain," he warned, his voice gruff with concern. "We need a plan." Ensign Maya Wallace, the youngest member of the crew, sat at the helm, her hands gripping the controls with white-knuckled determination. "I can try to shake them off with some evasive maneuvers," she offered, her voice tinged with uncertainty. Ava nodded, her mind racing with possibilities. "Do it, Maya. Liam, prepare a firing solution for our forward cannons. Ethan, target their lead ships and give them everything we've got." As Maya executed a series of complex maneuvers, the ship jolted violently as enemy fire rained down upon them. Alarms blared throughout the bridge as sparks flew from damaged consoles, but the crew remained focused, their training and instinct guiding their every move. "We're taking heavy damage, Captain," Ethan shouted over the cacophony of alarms. "Our shields won't hold much longer." Ava gritted her teeth, her hands tightening around the railing as she surveyed the chaos unfolding around them. "Keep firing, Ethan. We'll hold them off for as long as we can." As the battle raged on, tensions ran high among the crew, each member grappling with their own fears and doubts. Past conflicts and hidden agendas simmered beneath the surface, threatening to boil over at any moment. Chapter 2. The Sanctuary Planet. The remnants of the human spaceship hurtled through the vast expanse of space, battered and bruised from their encounter with the alien armada. Captain Ava Thompson stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the star map, displayed on the view screen, searching for any sign of hope in the darkness. "We can't keep running like this, Captain," Lieutenant Ethan Reynolds remarked, his voice tinged with exhaustion. "We need to find a safe haven, somewhere we can regroup and plan our next move." Ava nodded in agreement, her mind racing with possibilities. "I've heard rumors of a sanctuary planet, a place where humanity might find refuge from the alien invasion," she explained, her voice filled with determination. "It's a long shot, but it's our best hope." As the crew murmured among themselves, Ava turned to the communications officer. "Patch me through to Commander Alex Morgan," she ordered, her voice steady, despite the uncertainty looming ahead. Within moments, the viewscreen flickered to life, revealing the stern visage of Commander Alex Morgan, a mysterious figure with a reputation for getting results, no matter the cost. "Captain Thompson, what can I do for you?" he inquired, his voice betraying none of his true intentions. "We've received intelligence about a sanctuary planet that may offer refuge from the alien invasion," Ava explained, her gaze unwavering as she studied the commander's expression for any hint of deceit. Commander Morgan's eyes narrowed ever so slightly, a flicker of interest passing across his features. "I've heard the rumors as well," he admitted, his voice low and measured. "I can provide you with the coordinates, but you'll owe me a favor in return." Ava hesitated for a moment, weighing the risks and rewards of accepting the commander's offer. "Agreed," she finally replied, her voice firm with resolve. "Send us the coordinates, and we'll be on our way." As the transmission ended, Ava turned to the navigation officer. "Plot a course for the sanctuary planet," she ordered, her voice tinged with anticipation. "And bring us home." With a sense of renewed purpose, the crew set course for their newfound destination, their spirits buoyed by the prospect of sanctuary in the midst of chaos. But lurking beneath the surface, a sense of unease lingered, as the crew wondered what hidden dangers awaited them on the horizon. As the ship soared through the void, Engineer Sophia Nguyen emerged from the depths of the engine room, her expertise proving invaluable as she worked tirelessly to keep the ship's systems running smoothly. "We're nearing the coordinates, Captain," Maya reported from the helm, her eyes focused on the star map displayed before her. Ava nodded, her heart pounding with anticipation, as the sanctuary planet loomed ever closer on the horizon. "Prepare for arrival," she commanded, her voice filled with determination. "And may whatever awaits us there be worth the journey." Chapter 3. Unforeseen Consequences. The sanctuary planet loomed before them, a shimmering oasis of hope amidst the desolation of space. As the human spaceship approached, Captain Ava Thompson's heart swelled with cautious optimism. This was their chance to find refuge, to regroup, and to plan their next move against the relentless alien invaders. But as the ship descended towards the planet's surface, Ava's hopes were shattered by a sudden blip on the radar. "Incoming vessels," Lieutenant Ethan Reynolds announced, his voice strained with urgency. "They're not ours." A chill ran down Ava's spine as she realized the gravity of the situation. Their arrival had inadvertently led the aliens straight to the sanctuary planet, exposing it to the full force of the enemy's wrath. "No," she whispered, her voice filled with disbelief and horror. "We've led them right to them." Chaos erupted on the bridge as alarms blared, and the crew scrambled to assess the situation. Maya's hands shook as she attempted to plot an escape route, while Harper frantically scanned the scanners for any sign of survivors. "We have to do something," Liam urged, his eyes blazing with determination. "We can't just stand by and watch them die." Ava nodded grimly, her mind racing with guilt and doubt. They had come here seeking salvation, only to bring destruction upon those they had hoped to save. "Prepare to launch a counterattack," she ordered, her voice heavy with resolve. "We won't let their sacrifice be in vain." As the human spaceship engaged the enemy in a desperate battle for survival, Ava's heart weighed heavy with guilt. She had led her crew into this disaster, and now innocent lives hung in the balance because of her actions. Hours passed like an eternity as the battle raged on. The screams of dying echoed in Ava's ears like a haunting refrain. Each loss struck her like a blow to the chest, fueling the flames of doubt and self-recrimination that threatened to consume her. But amidst the chaos and destruction, Ava found strength in her resolve. She refused to let her guilt paralyze her, to let her doubt cloud her judgment. She would fight to the bitter end, for the sake of humanity, for the sake of those who had placed their trust in her. As the last remnants of the alien fleet retreated into the depths of space, Ava allowed herself a moment of respite. The battle may have been won, but the cost had been high. The sanctuary planet lay in ruins, its once vibrant surface now scarred by the ravages of war. Gazing out at the wreckage below, Ava made a silent vow to herself and to those they had failed to save. She would not rest until humanity had reclaimed its place among the stars, until they had vanquished their enemies and secured a future worth fighting for. Chapter 4. Betrayal. Tension hung thick in the air of the ship as suspicion and paranoia spread like wildfire among the crew. The events on the sanctuary planet had left scars, both physical and emotional, and now the specter of betrayal loomed over them like a dark cloud. Captain Ava Thompson paced the confines of her quarters, her mind plagued by doubts and fears. Could there be a traitor among them? Someone willing to sell out humanity for their own gain? The thought chilled her to the bone, but she knew she couldn't afford to ignore the possibility. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Ethan Reynolds pored over the ship's logs in the confines of the engineering bay, his brow furrowed in concentration. There had to be a reason why their systems had failed them on the sanctuary planet, a glitch or malfunction that had allowed the aliens to track them so easily. And then he found it. A series of anomalies in the ship's navigation system, subtle but unmistakable. Someone had tampered with the coordinates, leading them straight into the path of the enemy. But the question remained, who? Ethan's heart pounded in his chest as he rushed to share his findings with Captain Ava. If there was a traitor among them, they needed to be rooted out before it was too late. As Ava listened to Ethan's report, her blood ran cold. Betrayal from within was the last thing she had expected, but now it seemed all too real. "We need to confront the crew," she declared, her voice steely with determination. "We can't afford to trust anyone until we know for sure." The crew gathered in the mess hall, their faces drawn and weary from the trials they had endured. Ava stood before them, her eyes scanning the room for any sign of guilt or deception. "We have reason to believe that someone on this ship has been working with the enemy," she announced, her voice echoing off the walls. "And we won't rest until we've uncovered the truth." Suspicion ran rampant among the crew as accusations flew and tempers flared. Friend turned against friend, ally against ally, as the bonds of trust that had once held them together began to fray. And then, amidst the chaos, a voice spoke out from the crowd. "It was her," Sergeant Liam Chen declared, his eyes burning with righteous anger as he pointed an accusatory finger at Engineer Sophia Nguyen. Gasps of shock rippled through the room as all eyes turned to Sophia, her face pale and stricken with disbelief. I didn't do it," she stammered, her voice trembling with emotion. "I swear I would never betray humanity." But the damage had been done. Doubt had been sown, and now it threatened to tear the crew apart from within. As Ava looked on in dismay, she knew that the real battle was only just beginning. For in the depths of space, surrounded by enemies on all sides, their greatest threat may lie not in the stars, but within their own ranks. Chapter 5. Desperate Measures. The human spaceship limped through the vast expanse of space, its once sleek exterior marred by battle scars and the relentless onslaught of the alien armada. Inside, the crew worked tirelessly to keep their vessel afloat, their spirits tested by the constant threat of annihilation. Captain Ava Thompson stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the view screen that displayed the treacherous expanse of asteroid fields stretching out before them. "We can't keep running like this," she muttered, her voice heavy with resignation. "We need to find a way to outmaneuver the enemy." Lieutenant Ethan Reynolds nodded in agreement, his fingers flying across the controls as he plotted a course through the asteroid fields. "It's our best chance to lose them," he explained, his voice tinged with determination. "But it won't be easy." As the ship plunged into the asteroid fields, Maya Wallace took her place at the helm, her hands steady as she guided them through the maze of floating debris. Each maneuver was a calculated risk, every twist and turn bringing them closer to safety or to certain doom. Sweat beaded on Maya's brow as she dodged and weaved through the asteroids, her piloting skills pushed to their limits. Behind her, Ava and the rest of the crew held their breath, their hearts pounding in their chests as they prayed for a miracle. But the enemy was relentless, their ships hot on their tail as they pursued them through the asteroid fields. Laser fire rained down upon them, shaking the ship to its core as they fought tooth and nail to stay ahead. "We're not going to make it!" Liam shouted over the din of alarms, his voice tinged with desperation. But Ava refused to give up hope. "Hold on tight," she ordered, her voice filled with steely resolve. "We're not going down without a fight." With a burst of speed, Maya pushed the ship to its limits, weaving through the asteroids with a skill and precision that bordered on the miraculous. Laser fire flashed past them, narrowly missing their hull as they danced on the edge of disaster. And then, just when it seemed like all hope was lost, they burst free from the asteroid fields, leaving their pursuers far behind. Cheers erupted on the bridge as the crew celebrated their narrow escape, their spirits buoyed by the taste of victory against all odds. As the ship sailed on toward the safety of open space, Ava couldn't help but marvel at the resilience of her crew. Despite the odds stacked against them, they had come together in their darkest hour, each one doing their part to ensure their survival. But even as they basked in the glow of their victory, Ava knew that the battle was far from over. The enemy was still out there, lurking in the shadows, waiting for their moment to strike. And when they did, the crew would be ready. For they were warriors, forged in the crucible of war, and they would fight to the bitter end to protect all that they held dear. Chapter 6. Echoes of the Past. As the ship sailed through the cold expanse of space, the weight of their recent battles hung heavy on the minds of the crew. In the quiet moments between crises, memories of their pasts resurfaced, haunting them like ghosts from a bygone era. Sergeant Liam Chen stood alone in the dimly lit confines of his quarters, his mind consumed by memories of a life long since left behind. The faces of fallen comrades flickered through his mind, their voices echoing in his ears like a mournful lament. He remembered the horrors of war, the sights and sounds that still haunted his dreams to this day. The guilt of survival weighed heavy on his soul, a burden he could never hope to shake. But amidst the darkness, there were moments of light, memories of camaraderie and friendship, of bonds forged in the heat of battle. Liam clung to these memories like a lifeline, a reminder of the man he once was and the man he still hoped to be. As the ship's journey continued, the crew found themselves drawn together by a shared sense of purpose and camaraderie. But beneath the surface, each member harbored their own inner demons, their own struggles and regrets that threatened to tear them apart. In the quiet moments between crises, they shared their stories, opening up about their pasts in a way they never had before. Maya spoke of her childhood on the colony world of New Terra, of the family she had left behind to join the military. Ethan recounted tales of his days as a starry-eyed cadet, eager to prove himself in the crucible of war. Harper shared stories of her time in the labs, of the breakthroughs and setbacks that had shaped her into the scientist she was today. And Ava, the stalwart captain who had led them through countless battles, revealed glimpses of a past marked by tragedy and loss. Each story was a thread in the tapestry of their lives, weaving together to form a picture of who they were and who they hoped to become. But for Liam, the past was a shadow that clung to him like a curse. As the memories of his troubled history threatened to consume him, he found himself questioning his place among the crew, wondering if he truly belonged. And then, just when he thought he had put the past behind him, it came back to haunt him with a vengeance. A transmission from an old comrade, a reminder of the debts he had yet to repay, the sins he had yet to atone for. As Liam grappled with the ghosts of his past, he knew that he couldn't let them jeopardize the mission. For the sake of his crewmates, for the sake of humanity, he would confront his demons head-on, no matter the cost. Chapter 7. Alliances and Enemies. The human spaceship drifted through the vast expanse of space, its crew weary from their journey and wary of the dangers that lurked around every corner. But amidst the uncertainty, a glimmer of hope emerged on the horizon in the form of a transmission from an unexpected source. "Captain Thompson, we're receiving a distress signal from an unknown vessel," Lieutenant Ethan Reynolds announced, his voice crackling over the intercom. "They're requesting assistance." Ava's brow furrowed in concern as she considered their options. The last thing they needed was to invite more trouble into their already precarious situation. But something in Ethan's tone gave her pause, a sense that this was more than just another trap laid by their enemies. "Patch the transmission through to the bridge," Ava ordered, her voice steady, despite the uncertainty looming ahead. As the viewscreen flickered to life, the image of an alien ship filled the display, its hull battered and scorched from battle. A voice crackled over the intercom, speaking in a language that Ava couldn't understand, but the desperation in their tone was unmistakable. "We come in peace," the voice pleaded, its words translated into English by the ship's communication system. "We seek refuge from our pursuers. Will you help us?" Ava exchanged a glance with her crewmates, uncertainty clouding their expressions as they weighed their options. They had no way of knowing if these aliens could be trusted, if their offer of alliance was genuine or just another ploy to lure them into a trap. But Ava couldn't ignore the desperation in their voices, the echoes of their own struggles mirrored in the plight of these strangers. "Prepare to bring them aboard," she commanded, her voice firm with resolve. "But keep our weapon systems armed, just in case." As the alien refugees boarded the human ship, tensions ran high among the crew. Suspicion and paranoia lingered in the air, each member eyeing their new allies with a mixture of caution and curiosity. But as the hours passed and no sign of treachery emerged, Ava found herself beginning to lower her guard. The aliens proved themselves to be skilled engineers and tacticians, offering valuable insights and assistance that bolstered the ship's defenses and improved their chances of survival. And yet, despite their newfound alliance, Ava couldn't shake the nagging feeling of doubt that lingered in the back of her mind. Could she truly trust these aliens? Or were they merely biding their time, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike? As the ship sailed on through the void, Ava wrestled with the decision weighing heavily on her shoulders. Should she put her faith in their new allies and risk further betrayal? Or should she cut ties and forge ahead alone, trusting only in the strength of her crew? Only time would tell. Chapter 8. The Enemy Within. Tension hung thick in the air of the human spaceship as suspicions simmered and paranoia spread among the crew. The recent alliance with the alien refugees had brought with it a fragile peace, but beneath the surface, doubts lingered, fueling fears of betrayal and sabotage. Dr. Harper Jackson paced the confines of her lab, her mind racing as she searched for a way to uncover the truth lurking in the shadows. Rumors of a deadly infiltrator among them had spread like wildfire, sending shockwaves of fear through the crew. "We need to find them before it's too late," Harper muttered to herself, her hands trembling with urgency as she pored over the ship's surveillance logs. "We can't afford to let our guard down for a second." Meanwhile, tensions escalated on the bridge as accusations flew and tempers flared. Ava struggled to maintain order amidst the chaos, her voice strained with frustration as she attempted to keep the crew focused on the task at hand. But as the hours stretched on with no sign of the infiltrator, doubts began to creep into Ava's mind. Could they truly trust each other? Or had the enemy already infiltrated their ranks, biding their time until the perfect moment to strike? And then, just when it seemed like all hope was lost, a breakthrough occurred. A hidden compartment discovered in the cargo hold, containing a cache of stolen weapons and equipment. The evidence was damning, pointing to the presence of a traitor among them. As the crew gathered in the cargo hold to confront the infiltrator, tensions reached a boiling point. Accusations flew back and forth as each member pointed fingers at their fellow crewmates, desperate to uncover the truth before it was too late. And then, amidst the chaos, the infiltrator revealed themselves, their true identity laid bare for all to see. Gasps of shock rippled through the crowd as they beheld the face of their enemy, a member of the crew they had trusted with their lives. Harper sprang into action, racing against time to develop a countermeasure to neutralize the threat before it could wreak havoc on their ship. With the fate of humanity hanging in the balance, every second counted as she worked tirelessly to devise a plan to save them all. As tensions reached a fever pitch on board the ship, Ava knew that they were running out of time. They had to act fast if they were to survive the enemy within their midst and emerge victorious against the forces arrayed against them. But as Harper's countermeasure took effect and the infiltrator was subdued, a sense of relief washed over the crew. Though the threat had been vanquished, the scars of betrayal would linger long after the danger had passed, a constant reminder of the dangers that lurked in the darkness of space. Chapter 9. Into the Abyss. The human spaceship plunged headlong into the heart of enemy territory, its crew bracing themselves for the most daring mission they had ever undertaken. Their objective: to sabotage the aliens' main fleet and turn the tide of the war in humanity's favor. Captain Ava Thompson stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the view screen that displayed the sprawling expanse of the alien armada stretching out before them. "This is it," she declared, her voice steady with determination. "Our chance to strike a decisive blow against our enemies." Lieutenant Ethan Reynolds nodded in agreement, his hands flying across the controls as he plotted a course through the treacherous maze of enemy ships. "We'll have to thread the needle to get through their defenses," he warned, his voice tinged with urgency. "But I believe we can do it." As the ship surged forward, Engineer Sophia Nguyen sprang into action, her engineering prowess put to the test as she worked to keep the ship's systems running at peak efficiency. With each passing moment, the pressure mounted, but Sophia remained calm and focused, her expertise guiding them through the dangers that lay ahead. Hours passed in tense silence as the ship navigated through the heart of the enemy fleet, their presence undetected thanks to Maya's expert piloting skills and Liam's tactical cunning. But as they neared their target, the tension on board reached a fever pitch, each member of the crew steeling themselves for the battle to come. And then, just when it seemed like they had reached the point of no return, disaster struck. A sudden power surge rocked the ship, sending alarms blaring throughout the corridors as systems began to fail. "We're hit!" Ethan shouted, his voice strained with panic. "Engineering, report!" Sophia's voice crackled over the intercom, her tone urgent but determined. "We've got a breach in the engine room," she reported, her words tinged with urgency. "But I think I can patch it up long enough to get us through." With time running out, Sophia sprang into action, her hands flying across the controls as she worked to stabilize the ship's failing systems. Sweat beaded on her brow as she worked tirelessly, her mind focused on the task at hand as the fate of humanity hung in the balance. And then, just when it seemed like all hope was lost, Sophia's efforts paid off. The ship surged forward once more, its engines roaring to life as they raced towards their target with renewed determination. As they approached the heart of the enemy fleet, Ava knew that their mission was far from over. The true test lay ahead, and the fate of humanity rested on their shoulders. But with Sophia at the helm, Ava knew that they stood a fighting chance, for in the darkest depths of space, amidst the chaos of war, it was their courage and determination that would see them through to victory. Chapter 10. Final Showdown. The human spaceship hurtled through the void of space, its crew steeling themselves for the final confrontation with the alien leader. Every member of the crew felt the weight of their mission pressing down upon them, the fate of humanity hanging in the balance as they prepared for the ultimate battle. On the bridge, Captain Ava Thompson stood at the helm, her eyes locked on the view screen that displayed the massive alien flagship looming before them. "This is it," she declared, her voice steady with determination. "Our chance to end this once and for all." Beside her, Lieutenant Ethan Reynolds and Sergeant Liam Chen exchanged a meaningful glance, their resolve unwavering, despite the personal demons that haunted them. For Ethan, it was the memory of lost comrades, the faces of friends and loved ones who had fallen in the line of duty. And for Liam, it was the specter of his troubled past, the guilt and regret that had plagued him for so long. But as the ship surged forward to meet its destiny, there was no room for doubt or hesitation. The crew had come too far, sacrificed too much, to falter now in the face of their greatest challenge yet. As the two vessels clashed in a spectacular display of firepower, chaos erupted on the bridge as alarms blared and consoles sparked with electrical fury. Maya's hands flew across the controls, her piloting skills pushed to their limits as she maneuvered the ship through the swirling maelstrom of battle. Meanwhile, Ethan and Liam led the charge on the ground, their weapons blazing as they fought tooth and nail against the alien invaders. Each step brought them closer to the heart of the enemy, closer to the confrontation that would decide the fate of humanity once and for all. But as they neared their goal, disaster struck. A sudden explosion rocked the ship, sending shockwaves rippling through the corridors as systems began to fail and life support systems flickered ominously. "We're losing power!" Ethan shouted, his voice drowned out by the cacophony of battle raging around them. Desperation flashed in Ava's eyes as she fought to maintain control of the ship, her hands flying across the controls as she struggled to keep them afloat amidst the chaos. But with each passing moment, their situation grew more dire, their chances of survival slipping away like grains of sand through an hourglass. And then, just when it seemed like all hope was lost, a miracle occurred. The alien leader, sensing defeat, offered a truce, a chance for peace amidst the devastation of war. Ava hesitated for a moment, her mind racing with the weight of her decision. But in the end, she knew that they could not afford to let their pride stand in the way of a chance for peace. With a heavy heart, she accepted the alien leader's offer, signaling an end to the conflict that had ravaged the galaxy for far too long. As the dust settled and the smoke cleared, the crew of the human spaceship emerged victorious, their courage and determination shining bright in the face of adversity. And though the scars of war would linger for years to come, they knew that they had paved the way for a brighter future for humanity, a future built on hope, unity, and the unbreakable spirit of those who dared to defy the odds. Chapter 11. Redemption. The aftermath of the final battle left the human spaceship battered and bruised, its crew nursing wounds both physical and emotional. As they surveyed the wreckage around them, a sense of solemnity hung heavy in the air, each member grappling with the weight of their actions and the sacrifices made in the name of victory. Captain Ava Thompson stood on the bridge, her gaze fixed on the star map displayed on the view screen. The toll of their journey weighed heavily on her shoulders, but she refused to let despair consume her. "We may have won the battle, but the war is far from over," she declared, her voice resolute with determination. "We must press on, for the sake of those who have fallen and for the future of humanity." Beside her, the crew nodded in silent agreement, their eyes reflecting the pain and loss they had endured. Each member had given everything they had, sacrificing their own safety and well-being for the greater good. And though their hearts were heavy with grief, they found solace in the knowledge that their sacrifices had not been in vain. But amidst the wreckage, a glimmer of hope emerged. Survivors from the alien fleet emerged from the shadows, their faces weary but hopeful, as they extended an olive branch to their former enemies. "We have seen the error of our ways," they confessed, their voices filled with remorse. "We wish to join forces with humanity, to forge a new path forward together." Ava hesitated for a moment, her mind racing with the weight of their decision. But in the end, she knew that forgiveness was the only path to true redemption. "Welcome aboard," she declared, her voice filled with hope. "Together, we will rebuild and forge a brighter future for all." As the crew set to work repairing the ship and tending to the wounded, Ava knew that their journey was far from over. The road ahead would be long and fraught with challenges, but she refused to let despair cloud her vision. With courage and determination, they would rise from the ashes of war, their spirits unbroken and their resolve unwavering. And as they set course for new horizons, the crew of the human spaceship found redemption in the face of despair, their hearts united in a shared purpose to build a better tomorrow. Chapter 12. New Beginnings. In the wake of the devastating war that had ravaged the galaxy, the surviving crew members of the human spaceship found themselves standing on the precipice of a new era. As they gazed out at the stars, their hearts heavy with the weight of their losses, they knew that the path ahead would be long and arduous. But amidst the ruins of their shattered world, they found hope for a brighter tomorrow. Maya Wallace stood alone on the observation deck, her eyes tracing the twinkling lights of distant stars. Memories of their journey flooded her mind, from the chaos of battle to the quiet moments of camaraderie shared among the crew. Each moment had shaped her in ways she could never have imagined, forging bonds that would last a lifetime. As she reflected on their journey, Maya felt a sense of gratitude swell within her heart. Despite the hardships and sacrifices they had endured, they had emerged stronger and more resilient than ever before. And though the scars of war would linger, they served as a reminder of the strength and courage that had carried them through the darkest of times. But amidst the devastation, there was also hope. Humanity had come together in the face of adversity, united in their resolve to rebuild and forge a new path forward. And as Maya looked out at the stars, she knew that their journey was far from over. Together, they would chart a course towards a brighter future, one filled with promise and possibility. They would rebuild their shattered world, brick by brick, and forge new alliances with their former enemies, united in their shared desire for peace and prosperity. As the days turned into weeks, and the weeks turned into months, the crew worked tirelessly to rebuild their world from the ashes of war. Each member played their part, using their skills and expertise to contribute to the greater good. And amidst the chaos of reconstruction, Maya found solace in the bonds of friendship and camaraderie that had sustained them through the darkest of times. For in the end, it was their humanity that had carried them through, their unwavering resolve to never again let survival come at the cost of their principles. As humanity began anew, Maya knew that their journey was far from over. But with courage in their hearts and hope in their souls, they would face the challenges ahead together, united in their determination to build a better tomorrow for all. And as Maya looked out at the stars, she felt a sense of peace wash over her. For in the vast expanse of space, amidst the infinite possibilities that lay before them, she knew that their journey was just beginning.